Welcome back to my lovely HP community and the 5D collective. To those who love to love and love to live and love to laugh and learn and expand consciousness and all the amazing, empowering messages that we have for today. So, today we had a 12-12 portal. We had an episode out, and then we're going to have some chit chat here. I'm going to read to you what we were discussing in the other one, and then we will have some also channeled guidance messages, food for thought. So, if you're new, Mystic here, integrating sciences, spirituality, and spiritual, the subject matters are involving everything to support those who want to be their true self. So, self help, mindfully living, spiritually living, and personal development. So, being yourself is on the forefront of the menu, inspiring human potential as well. And you get to hear funny stories from a healthy, self worth, empowered, and enlightened and enlightening embodied feminine. I have my own masculine, but I'm an embodied feminine when it comes to my oversoul. And so, with that being said, God, Jesus, and Holy Spirit are how I begin. And the spiritual gifts, they're just like the clairs, they just have a different energetic imprint for a person like me who's a 5D mystic. The 4D like to use the word Lucifer, 3D too, and we all know about the men and women in cloaks who continue to bring forth the narratives of the medieval times. So we allow ourselves to understand that we will be rejected and unwanted by groups of people, but the flat earthers, they say to themselves too, as long as we allow ourselves to pursue voting laws, we can do the best we can to keep on moving forward. And the smart people, we bring conciliancy to anything and everything because disparate ideas are always coming together in the adolescent essence of the pure consciousness and pure energy person's brain, mind, body, heart. And so you love to love, live, laugh, learn, and not cast stones and dance. I love to love, and my baby, he loves to dance. We're on the high emotional, mental, and physical intelligence scale. That's the people who will come here because mindset, mindfulness, and mindset practices are for those people who want to tap into their infinite higher human conscious potential. And as for self perception, emotional depth, and mental clarity, they come with the whole self and love. So you lack self perception, emotional depth, and mental clarity when being yourself is paused. And that would be paused because distortedness comes from childhood trauma, trust breaks, and dysregulation. So when people don't take themselves seriously. And so until you become the owner of your sense of self and you gain healthy self worth and learn self regulation in a state of safety, so you become receptive to your social engagement system when you're dealing with people and life. It's not just self regulation, okay? That's when you will be no longer the distorted self with your adaptive child part and maladaptive patterns of behavior and behaviors in the lead, but if you instead ignore it, you will be leading with the adaptive child part, and that's your 16-year-old. You can just consider that. But your child parts, they come up out of the woodwork when you haven't uncharged them and learned to, again, self-regulate. So choosing to be yourself means healing trauma, trust breaks, and dysregulation with a good therapist. Once you have been able to now be in a relationship with your mind and body, that's when we have you becoming aware and uncharging your child parts and moving from adaptive child with a distorted self to a functional adult with a whole self who you love yourself first, as Terry Real would point out, but who is also capable of self-awareness, accountability, and regulation at the emotional, mental, and physical level of your own mind and body and heart and self with non-reactivity. This is thanks to engaging your social engagement system and prefrontal cortex. The reason you're a functional adult and inner child adult here at HP is that you have that self-perception, emotional depth, and mental clarity with the capacity of I have my own subjective experiences and so do other people. So you have a differentiated self. And you don't keep things on a scale of if somebody is unkind or lies or any of that as unprocessed. You know exactly how to process it, which is also where mindset, mindfulness, mindset come in when you're wanting to feel more flow and more bliss because you are good with doing, thinking, and feeling, okay? And to deal with people with the non-reactivity. So your relationships are enriched thanks to the inner growth mindset, and mindfulness practices. I also share universal love transmission sessions with Reiki. there's a playlist on YouTube for free. When our cheers are out, I will create more of the different types of content. For those of you who have seen the extended readings, you'll find those. And then there's obviously going to be mindset, mindfulness, and mindsight. They're all really one and the same practices because you can access all of this. So living and loving by being yourself mindfully and spiritually with healthy self-worth is your choice. Also being empowered is your choice, and you are open to enlightening. So this means that you are able to be true to who you are as you listen to your inner child from your prefrontal cortex as your higher self adult. And you don't ruminate. You live and love deeply as an adult because you know how to witness, process, and let go of what mental concepts, thoughts, and emotional charges and any triggers that take place. So you're actively, like with my panic attacks, self-regulating, self-soothing in a healthy way, okay? So you're able to be in the present moment with any past childhood memories, sensations, images, or life events that come up. You don't project them. And you are able to do this because you have bilateral and vertical integration. You have love as your emotional guide, because kindness is what is the intent for those of us who do mindfulness practices and live mindsight and mindset with inner growth and self-empowerment. So you are leading with love as your emotional guide, and you do not have, there's no more self-doubt, shame, or broken, distorted self-negative thoughts or feelings about yourself or other, or humanity, or any of that. Okay, so you're at peace with having flaws and imperfections in others' eyes and their own hearts. And you are at peace with it while being rejected for being yourself with flaws and integrity. So you can handle a relationship as a secure connection because you won't be a Cusco. You don't be reactive. When something's taken place, whenever I meet the facades, and I'm now confirming that they're not facades, meaning they're not flags with a flag post, excuse me. I don't go and point out, hey, you're an insecure person, okay? This is what I'm trying to get at. So we lead relationships with healthy self-worth and no shame, no blame, no fault, no revenge, no doubt, or no fear. So don't be like, I forgave you. And that's from here, and from here, and from here. Live life and relationships with awe and splendor is what we're able to do when we're choosing self-empowerment, being our true self, and putting mindfulness and mindsight into practice. So you're knowing in your mind, heart, body, and self that you're wanted just the way you are, that you can speak what you think and feel, but that not all people or the world will welcome you or want you as you are necessarily, and that not all will want to hear what you have to say necessarily or find it meaningful, valuable, important, or right. We have those who do not support getting therapy. So we know that they're actively considering those of us who support therapy as wrong. Okay, so we don't do the right wrong, the high intelligent, emotional, mental, and physical speaking people, but that doesn't mean that we won't be taken as wrong. Imagine 5D mystic. Enlightenment Soul Age Group. I love Jesus, Holy Spirit, God. God, everybody in a cloak will see me in any of that. We all know this. Akashic Record Reader, Reiki Master, Tarot Reader. Again, I'm not under the illusion of anything. I know exactly where these human beings are. And you leave it alone because we're not here to say, hey, you have cognitive dissonance and structural dissociation and you're using a narrative. That's not necessary. So when we are being in any interaction, we will allow ourselves to be non-reactive because we own our sense of self. We stand in equanimity. We stand in a physiological state of compassion, and we stand in integrity and acknowledge that rejection happens, and sometimes differences don't come together because the adaptive child is only a left mode. And we remember what Jesus did. He walked with all. He taught forgiveness. The ones who don't get it, they don't have to, nor will they. The adaptive child is rigid, harsh, and unforgiving. They don't take care of their inner world. We don't want to be around unhealthy self-worth people who do characterological distinctions, cast stones, and are not humble, and they don't know the Holy Spirit no matter what they will be wearing, no matter what comes out of their mouth. The only fools are not fools that follow those human beings. There are other adaptive children, lost boys, lost girls who follow Peter Pan's. I know exactly where they're at. It's called 7 and 14 Charming, and they don't end up in prison, all of them. But you better bet that their words are as fancy and hilarious as can be to a smart human being brain. So We here, and you, if you join us, love to love, laugh, live, and learn. We do not cast stones. We do not do characterological distinctions or judgments on anyone or anything. We are able to be our own true self with flaws and integrity. That's why we're getting to be ourselves mindfully, spiritually, with the inner growth mindset, mindfulness, and mindsight practices daily. So, you use enlightenment as your choice of expansion of consciousness. You use a funny bone, and what other people say about us doesn't matter. It's what we say and think that we will be concerned with, and we will not do anything that we will be ashamed of. So we don't treat anybody with unkindness. That's a choice because you physically didn't threaten me, so I don't need to protect myself. I don't need to go into my physiological threat or life threat response. This, when I say unkindness, anyone who is unkind, the therapist, when they use the word like compassion, the idiots don't understand because they don't get the in-depth knowledge. Otherwise, they know they're using it to say the dysregulated nervous system. So the adaptive child, I'll give you an example. When your body, heart, mind, and self are safe and secure home for you, and there's no shame, sensitive ego, or blind spots that make it hard for you to think or feel when you're interacting, okay? When you don't make or take things personally, since you're internally securely attached and empowered with equanimity, when you are able to identify the genuine relationships you're growing with healthy self-worth others who are like you and unhealthy self-worth others who are not like us, but they navigate 3D, 4D, and those consciousness states are with dysregulation and reactivity and modulated embodiment and dysregulated embodiment. So I'm going to continue being myself mindfully and spiritually in my restorative embodiment, which isn't for them, right? Okay, so as I'm interacting with them, I don't go into my brain stem. I actively maintain my prefrontal cortex, which is why I'm on the high mental, emotional, and physical intelligence scale. It's also why I'm completely clear of mind, and that's also why I have complete openness of my own self-perception, and I'm differentiated, and I'm in the presence of another. So the first time this was able to happen to me, like where I could describe it, was in the presence of a caring connection of mine where we went from laughing together to me being yelled at, and the word that they used triggered stuff that was from my own past and my own emotional plane. And then I've had other experiences where that's taken place, where I'm self-regulating as I'm in the presence of people who are not self-regulated, but they're dysregulated. And the one about my friend when he came up to me and said, you know you want it, don't you know, give it to him, or why don't you give it to him, is how, and I'm translating from Italian to English. So this person, who's my friend, we had a little chit chat, and they have an adaptive child leading the way, and I think they also have alters. So for whatever reason, their brain didn't like what that took place. That's because they have an unhealed child and child parts, and so they just are reactive. That's it. There's no Lucifer, nothing to say. So I'm happy that my friend and I are still friends. They didn't offend me because I'm not offended by people who are in their biological rudeness. I'm not afraid of them either. And I don't demonize or romanticize them. I know that anybody who wants to gain self-perception, emotional depth, mental clarity, they can. They go and get a whole self, and they get to go and get in love with themselves first. And then they're going to know how to also love other people because they're going to know self-regulation and how relationships are safe. And so they want to be vulnerable and together. And that's why I love to love. And my baby, he loves to dance. And he loves to love, and he loves to learn, and he loves to live and expand and live aliveness, not the pseudo-live business now. Okay, and also mystics, he has to love that I'm a woo-woo, but I'm not woo-woo. We're going to be back with some messages for this lovely 1212 portal. Again, catch a falling star and put it in your pocket. Never let it fade away. Catch a falling star and put it in your pocket. Save it for a rainy day. And there's another part that I'm going to read to you, but in our next episode. So if you want, come back for more. Otherwise, like, share, and subscribe if you liked. And obviously share if you know of people who do love to love, live, laugh, learn, expand consciousness, and tap into infinity and beyond with dealing with unknowns, uncertainties, and unwanteds from within with an open heart while going with the flow. And it's your heart and your flow, and you get to be yourself, and I get to be myself, and then we get to heal the world together of those who want to get integrated brains and also do the restorative embodiment, self-aware, accountable, regulating life like we all can. So we'll be back again with more unconditionally loving people, more funny stories of how we handle Cuscos all the time, squirrels, and you name it, and how we know the good therapists are there. So anybody who wants to save their self can go. They learn to be their true self because they unpause, and now we have a human being who's going to join us, and we're going to have a good time. So we'll see you after